Y'all, it's 3 after 8. If we can go and get started. I don't know where Pat is. She's outside there talking.
I got her helping some equine.
Okay.
They didn't know where to go.
All right. She's good at that. Representative Anderson, would you ask a prayer for us? And while we're doing that, we need to remember Lynn Moore. He's been in the hospital with pneumonia pretty bad, and I think he's at home now, recovering and resting, and maybe he'll be back next week. Miss Faye's looking after him. So, Lee. Sir, you got a subcommittee list from Pat on the email, I guess, the other day, and I'd like to assign House Bill 12, which is a Food Freedom Act, to Consumer Affairs, and House Bill 241 and 243, which is a Food Adulteration Act, to Consumer Protection Subcommittee. We use subcommittees to further study and perfect bills. Some of the bills that we get, we kind of run on through and get them in the system. We have some new members on the committee, and some of them decided they wanted to go to Governor's Mansion last week, which was okay. So Susan Holmes from Monticello, Rick Jaspers from Jasper, I can remember where he's from by his name, Tony McBrayer from Tifton, and Jan Tankersley from Brooklet are all new, as in freshman new, and then Bubba Epps from Dry Branch is new on the committee. Thank you, sir. In your folder, if you will look, I'm going to try to, in your folder, if you look, you'll find a white manila folder. And it's, every time we have a meeting, I'm going to try to add some stuff so you'll understand terminology with agriculture and what may be going on. If you look under the beef one, there's beef industry terminology on a couple of pages, and then I got the Cattlemen's Association to furnish us with this beef cut and how to cook them and where they come from and what part of the cow they come off of. And you may or may not want to use that, but it's something you got. There's also one in there, the same thing, of pork, and there's also the same thing in there with chicken. So you'll know what you're talking about when somebody asks you about it. Also, there's one in there from the cotton people. How many different things, from jeans to bed sheets to $100 bills, a bale of cotton will make. So that'll give you kind of an idea. And you may want it, you may not want it. It don't matter, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Also in that folder, or somewhere in your green folder, there were some questions asked last time when the dean was here about the cooperative extension redistribution of agents and how they are. There's 3 or 4 maps in there with dates at the bottom. You need to thank Pat for them being in color, because she's the only one got a color printer and it's slow, but she printed them for us. And then the last 2 pages are the criteria for the way they distributed the ag and natural resource agents over the whole state. If you got any questions, call me and I'll hook you up with Beverly Sparks about why they did this, or Tony Tyson, either one. So every time we have a meeting, I'm going to try to stick you some stuff in there like that may not mean anything, but you're going to get it. And I hope you use it. Also, today is Youth Equine Day. There's going to be kids from all over the state that have won some kind of award with high school horse dealings. You can tell Pat and Ben, thank you to everybody in the house needs to tell them thank you, because they have gone through and broken down all the kids that are coming today by district, by representative, so y'all can send them a congratulations letter. And Buddy, national champion rodeo cowboy, is going to be here. He's from Pulaski County, and we're going to recognize him on the floor. So don't. I'll find you before we get up there. Yeah, I have to. We have 3 bills. House Bill 125. Mr. Dixon, you getting to be a regular in the Ag Committee. We're glad to see you again. And you know, we're so easy on you. Everybody in here ought to get one of them new Dalton carpet rugs.
Yeah.
That would be me.
Well, that was by design.
I understand. I moved table.
That's because I've got yours for you down.
Oh, okay.
Spin that mic around so the IT folks won't be fussing at us about it. Anybody have any questions? Do we need to do it a sub or amended sub? Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Do pass by committee, sir?
There's a second. Motion second. All in favor say aye. Opposed no. Thank you, sir. We good to folks.
Thank you, sir.
I'll bring it to you. I was thinking you was chairman. I didn't talk about him.
Now that you got your little billboard bill out, you kind of look spunky.
What, did we have a billboard bill yesterday?
Rick, we can recommit. No, I don't want to recommit. I'm glad it's out.
House Bill 223, Representative Jasper. You ready or you want to wait? Okay.
I know, but they make us.
They're got TV cameras like y'all want to fuss about.
What's the difference in the language that we have currently here after the chairman amended it and the USDA language?
Yeah, the biggest difference is really an emphasis.
I think addresses it in that line 15 where it says science-based agricultural practices and technologies and blah and on. Because just like what you just said, the University of Georgia has a certificate program in sustainable agriculture, even in organic agriculture. So they're meeting. I mean, it kind of meets that definition. I mean, I think that definition here on 15 and 16 cover it.
I would agree with you, and I think all of us in this room doing what we do would agree with that. But when we are dealing with a farmer down in Swainsboro who's trying to figure out what it means to be sustainable, they're trying to enter that marketplace, and they see two different that look different, whether they could be interpreted as the same, in a future conversation. I think that's really where the problem lies with our farmers. I would be amenable to adding the term biological systems after the word technologies, and can certainly work with Representative Holmes to tinker with that language. To the extent that we can better.
Language we have right now that we are changing and then trying to get it in code before.
I think that science-based certainly the key is, any way you think about maybe enhancing the science-based, because
Put in there or.
Our request would not to be to add any. Organic is completely separate. I'd like to keep this sustainable, and to your point, sir, not go as far as to preclude the use of certain types of chemicals. Sustainable agriculture in practice with the USDA since 1990 has allowed some level of that, and we're not looking to change that. We're really looking for consistency in statute for our farmers who already have enough to deal with.
you know, we have seen the farmers really develop a great respect for science through particularly certain things. I think probably the most important event in agricultural history in this area as far as getting old folks to accept science-based agriculture was the elimination of screwworms. The boll weevil eradication has done more to make farmers accept the cycles of nature and understand that everything has got to be considered. I mean, that's been great. But at the same time, we're dealing now with people that just cannot understand and comprehend genetic
GMOs.
Genetic modified organisms, and there's some people got mental blocks about this, and so like I said, this is dangerous, folks.
It is not true that ever since the first person bred the first black Angus, things have been genetically modified.
I heard an argument in the hallway that we all have been.
We got her at Angus because it was genetically modifying the native species out there.
So them black white-faced calves are genetically modified animals that the buyers pay way under more than they do one of the either.
Folks out there that think eating genetically modified food is unsafe.
That's right. They don't understand. Say, Robert?
Hey, Mr. Chairman, I think that if you'll go to line 15, after practices, we're going to strike the word or and have technologies, and then insert or biological systems supported by research. I think that
feels great to me. Thank you, sir.
That helps you, and that still covers what we want to
I
make
believe
sure.
so.
And our attorney has actually said that's the way to do it, and I trust him.
Trust the attorney too. We don't know how lucky we are.
Yeah.
Did somebody have a question over here?
No, that's all right, Mr. Chairman. That was basically.
Okay.
I think the language is broad enough that helps.
All right, Jennifer, thank you.
Thank you
Don't
so
go
much.
anywhere,
I appreciate y'all.
Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Brian Toller, Georgia Agribusiness Council, and pleased to be before you all today. And first off, thank you, Representative Holmes, for your good work to bring this before the committee. We're excited about this measure because it's for the first time we're talking about sustainable agriculture, and we can all be talking about the same thing. Because for a long time, when someone said sustainable agriculture, we didn't know specifically what they meant. Did they mean locally grown? Did they mean organic? Did they mean conservation tillage? Did they mean modern agricultural practice? What did they mean? And so this clears that up. I'm certainly interested in the amendment, simply because I really do not believe that the USDA definition and this definition are in conflict. I think this definition actually is more inclusive than what is prescribed in USDA definition. Plus, this definition is much more modern than what was prescribed by USDA. So we will continue to look at that, but certainly welcome the opportunity to have that amendment in there for now, and we'll examine and reevaluate. But thank you for that opportunity. Also, I will say that I think it's very good that the changes that were made go beyond the scope of just food production, because we do have such a diverse agricultural history and future here in Georgia that we're not focused just on food production, that we also capture our horticulture plants, turf grass, nursery plants, and all that are captured in there as well, and those production practices. And finally, Mr. Chairman, I'll say that it's important that the way this bill is written, that it focuses on the stewardship of our environmental resources, and that's important. That's important for this industry. It's important that that point is highlighted in this legislation, and so that point also is a very good addition, and we're very, very pleased to see that. And if there's any questions of me, I'll be happy to answer those. But just in summary, we think this is a good move, that we can get sustainable agriculture defined in Georgia code, so that we're all singing off the same sheet music. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The sign-up sheet just had those two. Steve, did you want to say anything, or Joe, or Chris, or anybody?
Yes, sir, if I may.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Steve McWilliams, and I am the president of the Georgia Forestry Association. And I, too, come to speak in favor of this legislation. This being Valentine Week, I sort of liken the way we toss around the term sustainable to the way we toss around the word love sometimes. It means, it has a different meaning based on what it is you're trying to achieve. And so for us to actually have a sustainable agriculture definition, a common language, as has been mentioned, I think is a good thing. Also, I want to thank the chairman and the sponsor of the legislation for being very accommodating with the Georgia Forestry Association and others in terms of making the changes that you have agreed to. If I have any remaining concern about this, it might be in line 22, where we talk about advancing progress toward environmental, social, and economic goals. I think we all can agree what our environmental goals are. We want to protect our water. We want to protect our air. We want to protect our wildlife. Economic goals, we certainly want a viable, profitable agricultural community. But the word social just gives me a little heartburn. It's not something I would fall on my sword over right now, but I don't know what a social goal might be, and I think the range of possibilities for what social goals might be could potentially be a problem at some point in time. If it would not impact the integrity of the legislation, in the opinion of the sponsor and in the opinion of the chair and the committee, I wonder if that word social might be eliminated. I don't want to belabor that point, but it does send up a red flag in my mind, and that would be the only comment that I would have remaining about this bill.
The social goal would be those of improved food quality and what helps the people themselves. As you said, I don't know that it's a major factor, but there are some social goals basically in the upper part of the definition there. Safe, nutritious, affordable food. So if that would be something that might be considered social goal, I think it might be.
Well, as I say, I'm not going to fall on my sword over this, and if in fact that is the connection, then that certainly is agreeable. But as the bill keeps moving, I want to keep thinking about that a little bit. But at this point in time, that's fine, and we do appreciate what the sponsor has done, and would certainly favor the passage of this legislation out of this committee.
But I'm glad you said that, because that's kind of the way I was reading it as far as the improvement in the nutrition, which all of this will lead around to. If you look at improvement in nutrition as far as a social goal, then that means people are improving toward eating more fruits, vegetables, and that kind of stuff, which means you're going to have pollinators, which means on back up in here we need to be taking care of the beehives we got. All you're going to have when you eat a hamburger is the bun, so that's the only thing it doesn't need a bee to pollinate, is the wheat. But I said all that to say that's kind of the social goal part that I read this in, and I understand where you're coming from the forest industry too.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. If I'm able to better articulate my thought later on, I will share that with you. But for now, again, we certainly support House Bill 225.
But you okay with the other little change?
Yes, sir. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Jeffrey, all right, go
I
ahead.
might add, sort of in line with what he's talking about, you might put a little bit of thought into how education has been used as a structural engineer.
We should have talked to Representative Dixon about that when he was in here. Jeffrey, did y'all want to say anything on this? Or?
No, we're fine. We appreciate
Okay.
the sponsor bringing this, and we've heard one or two concerns over the word biodiversity, but I didn't think it was warranted slowing the process down. We're a little concerned about that just because it seems like the things we do in ag are not biodiverse. If we're going to plant pine trees, we're going to plant large amounts of that one particular product, and same with other commodities. So that word was giving us a little bit of a heartburn, and like Steve, we're not going to fall on the sword for it, but it wouldn't bother us to see it come out.
And Steve said something about that, but my personal idea of biodiversity is the pine trees plus everything that lives on them, plus everything that lives in the top of them, plus the carbon and everything else. That was my deal on it. Which
what we're afraid of is some people see that as a wild forest. No specific
We've got a lot of
planet.
people that are claiming we're not replanting forests. We're having pine plantation. We cultivated one particular variety of species that's not really a forest.
well, they need to start looking for the forest instead of the trees. Miss Susan, you want to finish up?
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate very much the comments that have been made here, and I think we have reached a very good common sense bill, and I appreciate all of your help, and I also appreciate your helping me, assisting me with this. One thing, I especially wanted to emphasize Brian Toller's use of stewardship, because I think that is something that we need to really think about, the importance of the stewardship aspect. And also, one other thing I want to just mention, to promote sustainable agriculture. I think we've got to really work at promoting sustainable agriculture and just promoting agriculture in general. This group can do that. The state of Georgia is so very fortunate to have wonderful agricultural leaders, and I just look forward to working with all of you to continue to promoting agriculture, our largest industry in the state. So at this point, sir, I would recommend that we approve this bill 225.
Thank you, ma'am. By committee sub, right?
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Thank you.
There was one more thing I need to do, and I've got my paper all covered up. Everybody that
That is
Good man. I don't care what they say about you.
Before you leave, I need to see Buddy, Doc, Ellis, Bubber, Miss Susan, Rick, Billy Maddox, Tony McBrayer, right here for just a second. And anybody else that thinks they want to go on this trip to Perry Friday, we need to talk a little bit about how the logistics are going to work. What else have I got? That's it. I thought I had. Oh, here it is. Anybody else got anything? Chip, glad you came. All right, thank y'all for coming.
Yeah, I think so. Hold up your picture on the side. Best I can do.
That's okay.
And he said we had control over the
You want to go ahead and sign. I'll put the LC numbers because they're all by sub.
Okay.
I'm going to sign on.
but they're going to have something.
We're doing the same.
And I'll fill it all in. Just sign on. Under where, right at the very last, right.
So you don't want me to write
I'll
this
do
in?
that. No, I'll do it.
You don't think my writing?
Somebody's got to bring the line. 223.
Rick, let's say 223.
I'll email you. I'll email it to you.
With the haystack language in it.
Congratulations.
Huh? Just come in and tell me what we got to tell Wayne where.
Oh.
Okay. They're going to get the
We're gonna get the number.
practice codes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll email it to you.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I thought it was something else.
Thank you.
There you go.
Wayne, let me see if it's going. All you want to do is add or winter feeding facility.